Alex Grant had never expected his first diplomatic mission to an alien world to start with a handshake. Yet here he was, standing in the grand hall of the Xylarian royal palace, staring up at ceilings that seemed to stretch forever. The walls shimmered with a liquid-like metal, reflecting the light of countless glowing orbs. The air hummed softly, vibrating like it carried some secret energy. And in front of him, the Xylarian princess Lyra watched him with wide emerald eyes. "Extend your limb," intoned the royal herald, in a voice that echoed unnaturally. "The greeting must commence." Alex nodded, trying not to sweat. Humans were known for their diplomacy, for thinking fast, for adapting. He could handle this, right? He stepped forward and did what every human had been taught in polite situations. He held out his hand. A firm, confident handshake. The hall went silent. Not the polite silence of a momentary pause. No, this was the heavy, expectant hush of 1,000 eyes staring, waiting for something monumental to happen. Lyra blinked. Once, twice, then gasped. The herald's voice cracked slightly. "No, that is not the correct form." Alex froze. I thought you have pledged," said the Xylarian king, his voice booming like 1,000 drums, "to father the heirs of the royal line." Alex's jaw dropped. "Wait, what?" "By our oldest tradition," the herald continued, "any being who extends the limb of greeting in this fashion has agreed to join the royal lineage and ensure its continuation." Alex's hand still hovered awkwardly in the air. "But I'm human."
"I don't even know, what?"
Lyra's face turned a shade paler, if that was even possible for Xylarians. Her long, slender fingers twitched nervously. "Father, this is not what he meant. He's human." The king waved a hand, silencing her. "Tradition is tradition. There is no exception, even for humans." Alex's mind raced. "Okay, pause. Listen, I'm a diplomat. I'm here to discuss trade, knowledge, and—" "No interruptions," the king said, leaning on a staff that glimmered with energy. "You have shaken her hand. The pledge is binding," Alex swallowed hard. Humans were adaptable, inventive, clever. But this was a whole new level. He had trained for first contact. He had studied alien customs, languages, and etiquette. But apparently no handbook had a chapter titled, "When You Accidentally Agree to Father Alien Royalty." He glanced at Lyra. She was still staring at him, a mix of horror and disbelief on her face. This is not what I meant. We have, different customs." The herald stepped closer. "Customs do not change what has been done. You must now comply." Alex's stomach sank. "Comply?" "Yes," the king said simply. "Prepare to join the royal line, human." Alex looked around, desperate. The hall was massive. Servants hovered silently along the walls. Nobles of every size and shape, tall, luminescent insectoid, watched him like a strange creature in a zoo. He needed a plan. Fast. Lyra leaned forward slightly. "Wait," she whispered. "He's human. Humans don't. He doesn't even—" "You can't," Alex shook his head. "Yeah, I don't think this is biologically possible, actually. But thanks for the vote of confidence," the king ignored them. "Your compliance is required. You may not leave the palace until this matter is resolved." Alex's mind spun. He had imagined all sorts of first contact scenarios. Maybe a tense negotiation. Maybe a cultural misunderstanding that could be smoothed over. But this was a nightmare wrapped in ceremonial robes. What if we— Alex began, but realized he had no words that could bridge human logic with Xylarian tradition. "I can do a symbolic handshake, like a pretend thing?" The herald shook his head gravely. "Symbolic gestures are meaningless. The pledge is literal and sacred." Alex's shoulders slumped. He'd read about humans in difficult situations. They were resourceful, brave, and moral. Now was the time to show that. He squared his shoulders. "Okay," he said aloud, loud enough that the king could hear. "Let's figure this out. I want to understand your rules, your customs, and maybe see if there's a way to honor tradition without breaking anyone's laws." The king's expression softened just slightly. "You are bold, human." "Boldness is rare among non-Xylarians." Alex offered a faint smile. "I'm also slightly terrified, if that counts." Lyra chuckled quietly, a soft, melodic sound that seemed out of place in the tense hall. "You are very human." Alex raised an eyebrow. "I'll take that as a compliment." The king waved his staff. "Very well. You will stay in the palace while your pledge is considered. In the meantime, you will learn our ways." Alex groaned internally. Learn alien ways, fantastic, I didn't even have lunch. Lyra leaned closer. Don't worry. I'll help you survive the first week. After that, well, we'll see. Alex blinked. Help me survive, what? The palace, she said with a small smile. And the nobles. Some of them don't like outsiders. Some of them don't like humans at all. Alex rubbed the back of his neck. Great. Hostile alien nobles, sacred pledges, and apparently I'm about to become a father, except I can't. Got it. Standard Tuesday for a diplomat. Lyra laughed again, shaking her head. You're hopeless. But maybe you can survive this. Somehow. Over the next hour, Alex was led through the palace. Every corridor seemed taller than the last. Every hallway adorned with alien symbols that glowed and shifted as if alive. Servants hovered silently, watching his every move. At one point, a small floating orb zipped past him and hissed like a tiny mechanical snake. He jumped, nearly tripping over his own feet. Relax, Lyra said, floating alongside him. It's harmless, mostly. Mostly? Alex asked, raising an eyebrow. Lyra shrugged. It mostly just observes. Sometimes it zaps people who do something stupid. Alex gave her a sharp look. You're not helping. Lyra laughed again. You'll get used to it, or not. Either way, you'll be interesting. They reached a chamber with a view of the city below. The buildings sparkled like crystals under twin suns. Ships of strange shapes glided silently between towers. Humans had never seen anything like it. Alex swallowed, trying to focus. Okay, this is amazing. I can admire the view while panicking about my pledge. Lyra tilted her head. You don't have to panic. Yet the king is old-fashioned. But he is not cruel, usually, just very firm on tradition. Alex nodded slowly. Firm, got it, traditions, sacred pledges. Alien politics, perfect, everything I dreamed of as a kid except with more anxiety. Lyra's expression softened. You'll survive, you're resourceful. Alex laughed softly. Thanks. That's encouraging. Really? For the first time since the handshake, Alex allowed himself to breathe. Maybe he could handle this. Maybe human ingenuity, morality, and a bit of luck could navigate this bizarre, rigid, and beautiful world. Maybe humans could impress aliens, not just with technology, but with courage and heart. And if he survived the first week, maybe he'd even find a way to turn a terrifying accidental pledge into a story the galaxy would never forget. Because humans didn't just survive the impossible, they thrived. Alex had barely settled into the palace when he realized that surviving the handshake incident was only the beginning. The real challenge was navigating the labyrinthine politics of the Xylarian court. The first morning in the palace felt like stepping into a different world. The hallways were alive with movement. Alien nobles of all shapes and sizes glided past him, whispering in a language he did not understand. Some had elongated heads with shimmering crests. Others had limbs that bent in ways impossible for humans. All of them stared at him with curious, suspicious, or downright hostile expressions. Lyra floated beside him, her long hair drifting like liquid emerald in the soft light. Welcome to your first full day as a royal pledge, she said, a teasing smile on her face. It's worse than the handshake, trust me, Alex groaned. Oh, I love this. I'm basically trapped in an alien reality show with no instructions, no safety net, and a king who thinks I'm going to father his heirs. Lyra chuckled softly. You'll be fine, mostly, just watch out for the nobles. Some of them see you as an outsider, others see you as a threat, and a few are trying to manipulate your pledge for their own gain. Alex raised an eyebrow. Manipulate me? How? I can't even… Exactly, Lyra interrupted. You're human. They don't know how to deal with humans. And humans. Well, humans are unpredictable. They entered a massive chamber, larger than any human city hall Alex had ever seen. In the center, a circular platform hovered a few feet above the ground, and around it sat dozens of nobles, their eyes fixed on Alex. Some murmured to each other in hushed tones, and some openly gestured at him, their gestures sharp and threatening. The herald stepped forward. This is the Council of Elders. You will present yourself and answer their questions. Speak truthfully and respectfully. Alex nodded, taking a deep breath. Hello, he said, voice steady despite the nerves. I am Alex Grant, human ambassador. I come in peace and wish to honor your traditions while representing humanity respectfully. A tall insectoid noble with multiple eyes leaned forward. Peace, he hissed. Do humans even understand the concept of honor? Or are you merely pretending to appease us? Alex's mind raced. Humans had faced diplomacy before, but this was different. He needed to assert confidence while showing honesty. "I understand honor," he said slowly. "Humans value honesty, courage, and commitment. I may not fully understand all your customs yet, but I will learn. And I will act with integrity." The noble's many eyes narrowed. Integrity? Bold words for a creature who has already pledged to father royal heirs by a simple gesture. "Do you even comprehend the gravity of your actions?" Alex swallowed. "I do. And I intend to respect it while ensuring that no laws, human or Xylarian, are broken unnecessarily," Lyra whispered, just loud enough for him to hear. "Good. You're surprising them. They expected fear or confusion." "Better than the alternative," Alex muttered. The council murmured among themselves. Another noble, shorter and serpentine, hissed, "Perhaps this human is adaptable. Unpredictable, but capable. That could be useful." Alex blinked. "Useful? How?" Lyra whispered again. "Don't ask. Sometimes curiosity will get you killed here. Sometimes it will get you respect." Over the next few hours, Alex was introduced to the intricacies of Xylarian court politics. Every noble had an agenda, and almost none of them had humanity's moral compass. Some wanted to manipulate him into marrying Princess Lyra, consolidating their own power. Others hoped he would fail at the simple tasks of daily palace life, embarrassing the humans and making the king reconsider the pledge. Alex quickly realized that his human adaptability was his greatest asset. He had no preconceptions about alien ways, and he could think creatively when tradition demanded strict conformity. For example, during the midday assembly, a noble demanded that Alex demonstrate his worthiness by navigating a ceremonial maze, a test of patience, wisdom, and reflexes. The human diplomats he had studied always relied on brute logic or pre-planned tactics. Alex relied on observation, improvisation, and his natural human curiosity. He noticed small details, the way certain symbols glowed, the subtle shifts in air currents, and how the nobles themselves moved. Using these observations, he solved the maze in a way that stunned everyone. Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Not bad for a human, you're different from what they expected." Alex shrugged. "I've always been told humans are resourceful." "Resourceful doesn't even begin to cover it," Lyra said, a smile tugging at her lips. As the day went on, Alex began to understand that the palace was not just a place of tradition, but a battlefield of wits. Every smile could hide a threat. Every compliment could conceal a trap. And every ritual could be used as leverage. During a break, Alex and Lyra walked through a garden suspended high above the palace towers. Strange glowing plants floated in midair, and the scent of alien flowers was sweet and sharp at the same time. "You seem to be handling the nobles better than I expected," Lyra said. Alex chuckled, "Mostly by staying alive and not insulting anyone. Though I think I may have accidentally offended 3 of them already." Lyra laughed. "Accidentally? That's generous. You're a human. Humans are chaotic. They can't help it," Alex frowned. "Chaotic? Is that supposed to be a compliment?" "It is," Lyra said simply. "In a palace full of rigid rules and traditions, chaos can be useful. Humans are unpredictable. You can solve problems they never imagined. That is why your presence here is intriguing." Alex's chest swelled a little with pride. HFY moments were rare, but this was one. Humans weren't just surviving. He was starting to impress an entire alien court without even trying to fight anyone. But the respite was brief. During a meeting in the afternoon, one of the older nobles, an enormous turtle-like being with a thick, armor-like shell, approached Alex with a calculated smile. "You are clever, human," the noble said. "But cleverness without caution is dangerous. I suggest you reconsider your actions. One misstep and the king's favor will turn against you." Alex met the noble's gaze steadily. "I'm aware of the risk, but I will not compromise my principles, nor will I dishonor your traditions intentionally. I hope that counts for something." The noble's multiple eyes blinked slowly. "Perhaps, but caution is more valued than principles here." Alex nodded. "Noted." He whispered to Lyra as they left the chamber. "I think he just threatened me with turtle wrath?" Lyra smirked. "Something like that. Pay attention. Some threats are subtle, some are obvious. Surviving court politics is about noticing both." That evening, Alex was invited to dine with the royal family. The food was unlike anything he had ever tasted. Floating spheres of energy-rich nutrients, liquids that changed flavor with each sip, and fruits that shimmered as if alive. He tried everything, careful to follow Lyra's subtle cues on etiquette. "You're doing better than most outsiders," Lyra said between bites. "You're adapting." "Humans adapt fast," Alex laughed softly. "Adapt, survive, impress aliens. Sounds like a normal Tuesday for a human diplomat." Lyra's smile faded slightly. "Just remember, Alex, not all humans succeed here. Many fail because they don't understand the layers of politics, or because they think honesty alone can protect them." Alex looked down at his plate, considering her words. Honesty had gotten him into the handshake mess. But maybe, just maybe, honesty combined with ingenuity could get him through the next days. As the twin suns set over the city, casting long crystalline shadows across the palace towers, Alex felt a strange mixture of fear and excitement. He was a human in an alien court, bound by a pledge he hadn't meant to make, facing nobles who would stop at nothing to manipulate him. And yet, he felt alive. Humans had a way of surviving impossible situations. They had faced the unknown countless times. And in the heart of the Xylarian palace, Alex realized that maybe humans weren't just adaptable, they were remarkable. Even if he still didn't know how he was going to survive the week without accidentally pledging something else he didn't understand. Because in the Xylarian court, every gesture, every word, every glance could have consequences. And Alex had a very human mission: navigate it, impress where possible, survive where necessary, and maybe, just maybe, change what it meant to be human in the eyes of an entire alien civilization.